It is with great pleasure that I stand here this morning to actually deliver address at the first OECS Council of Ministers of Foreign Affairs. I say so because I have been advocating a Council of Foreign Ministers for the OECS for the longest while. And I had that dream that one day we would see that. And so we have transformed a dream into a reality. And so I am conscious of the fact that I'm addressing you at a time where the world is pregnant with challenges. We live in a very complex and fluid world situation. Diplomacy in the 20th century belongs to the dim distances of departed time, and we have entered into a new era, where diplomacy has moved away from two major wars in the 20th century, two major powers in the 20th century, where business of international relations were conducted by the executives of countries. In the 21st century, this is no more. You find more and more parliamentarians who do not belong to the executive are actually exerting influence on decision-making at the UN and other bodies in the world. We have NGOs exerting greater influence and sometimes influencing the outcome of UN decisions. But more importantly, we live in an environment where trade and macroeconomic approaches favor industrialized countries to the detriment of developing countries. We are well aware that in a variety of regions of the world, substantial changes are taking place, that the balance of power among the major countries of the globe is changing, and that in the spheres of both political and economic relations, new actors are emerging to challenge the traditional relations between the dominant post-World War powers. We are aware that the collapse of the Soviet Union has created a large number of relatively small states, which are in competition with traditionally defined small states like ours, attracting the attention and support from actors like the European Community, which had been among our significant donors. This changed international scenario has therefore brought with it new challenges, which calls for new decisions in the diplomatic sphere to permit the realistic adjustment of economic and political strategy, and to reshape external relations along more realistic and multidimensional lines. Formulating approaches to the foreign policies of the region intended as innovative responses more in keeping with the present times. So therefore, in our search for possible alternative alignments with other nations, they must be strategically planned and they must be coherent. So today is an opportunity for us to come together, to organize ourselves into that integrated whole, so that we can determine appropriate policy options for the OECS in the context of the end of the Cold War and the era of globalization and emergence of new powers. There is no doubt in my mind that it is within our sphere of competence to emerge with innovative responses to this complex and fluid world situation. As small states, we are surviving in an environment that many people expected us to have been buried beneath the wheels that propel development onward. But we have demonstrated that despite our size, despite the fact that we have limited resources, we utilize limited resources to do the most that we can. This is why in this region, we have high literacy rates. We have an acceptable healthcare system. And we have all the aspects of our own development, which are, of course, not necessarily in consonance with our size. But as I prepare to close, I wish to indicate that in an environment where we have experienced the decline in official development assistance, erosion of trade preferences, decline in foreign direct investment, that we must watch how we stand before the world.